Ladies and gentlemen, it's I, Papa Pike, with my boy Casual here for another fantastic night of a best of threes for the MCOM Platinum Circuit. Casual, how are you feeling today, my dude?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling especially good about this. I had, some bad luck in solo queue. It happens. It's fine. But what a way to finish off a terrible day on the Rift, then to enjoy some people have an absolutely fantastic day on the Rift, which will be our two teams that we're coming up against now. And curious for me, a bit selfishly, Pike, I'm actually yet to see either of these teams play yet. And especially haven't even been able to cast them. So going to be a real new sort of experience for me. And I'm excited to do it alongside you.
Mate, I've been casting these guys for a couple of weeks now, so I'm chuffed, and it's always an honor to be casting with my boy
Mm,
Casual, because not only do we get along so well, but it just feels so casual at the same time. We just get to breathe through it, and it's just like,
that's it.
it's a breath of fresh air every time we get to commentate together. So no, I'm really
Agreed.
keen, man. I'm really keen. So
Yeah.
anything you want to talk about with these two teams? Let's break down these two teams. So we're versing
Yeah.
tonight, best of three. It is Team Cavalry versus Jade Dragons. Now that's going to
That's the one.
be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and there's actually so much to talk about, and we've got to get into the standings and all things like that. But yeah, two teams that I think are really evenly matched. Looking at both sides, and as always, there are some names in here, especially, which is really good. And
Mm.
we've also got the reverse as well, which we've got some players who are debuting at the same time too. So kind of the old and the young, the rookie and the veteran, that sort of vibe for both of these teams. Especially on the case of Cavalry, with players like Envious of Me being a 9 to plat
Mm.
since as long as I've been born, really. Dollop as well. You could be considered a veteran, at least here in MCOM, and a long-standing member of the community, and also a really decent player for quite a while. And then
Mm.
alongside them, you've got Daya, and we were just talking backstage about
Yeah.
Daya, the 80 carry for Cavalry, 2 wins away from Diamond Pike. So, no big claims there, but let's hope that before he may leave this circuit forever, due to rules and regulations, he comes off with a pop-off performance. Would be nice. Kind of that extra salt in the wound, right? Get the win and then go promote to Diamond and go like, never again, can't catch me. Um, so yeah, we'll
That's
see how that goes.
That's the big thing. Hey, we're going to be really watching this bot lane because we've got
It will
Worgen
be.
on Jade Dragons, who is the Draven one trick, who we just love to watch because if he
Yeah,
gets Draven, he either runs with it or they
it's a
just
fun
shut him down
time.
really hard. So it's like,
Yeah,
regardless, it's a Dale Worgen matchup today. But we
exactly.
can't ignore some of the other fantastic players that are going to be
We
on
cannot.
these teams. We have some new people. We said Happy Windman on Team
Mm-hmm,
Cavalry as well, quite
mm-hmm,
new. Who
mm-hmm.
who else was new on Cavalry? I can't. It was one, and then we got told another one, and I was like, here, I'll find out. You keep talking for me.
Yeah, no, it's Recre, so it's the
Ah,
support. So he's going to come in alongside Daya as well. And really curious too, when you match yourself up with a really experienced and skilled AD carry as a support, you've got to make a decision whether now do I play comfort or do I rotate onto something that's really going to benefit my
mm,
AD carry? If I'm an all-in player, but Daya likes things like the Jinx or the Zeri, maybe I need to rotate to an Enchanter just to boost him. So really curious decision making that we'll get into on the Cavalry side. But they're not the only ones with interesting faces. On the side of Jade Dragons, we've got Part the Horizon, who I think I casted his debut performance, which left a little bit to be desired, Pike. I won't go too far into
mm,
it, but he's definitely got some improvements and some points that he needs to make tonight if he really wants to be considered, someone to watch out for in the top lane.
mm,
And then you've got some players who actually had a really, really great night last night, Pike. So you were off having a
mm.
life touching grass. Back down in the real world, down here in Discord, we had an ARAM circuit tournament that we played,
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
it was really fun. It was really fun. It lasted 6 hours, so that was interesting. Anyway, Tempest
Mate.
and Reasons did a fantastic job in that tournament, so they'll be feeling
Mm.
fresh off the oven to come into this game because they had a really, really good performance. Let's see if they can rotate those Hell in Abyss skills over to Summoner's Rift.
Look, fresh off the oven, mate. They're a baked piece of bread, and they're
They're
sourdough
baked.
because they're feeling
Oh,
real good. Now, like,
mm,
I actually kind of want to go back and watch the ARAM tournament last night
you
because
should.
it looked like a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
was out just trying every brand of sake that I could actually find at this one
Oh,
restaurant.
yes.
It was
Oh,
not that great of a night, I'll tell you now, ladies and gentlemen. Drink responsibly,
mm,
please. It's very important. But there's photos of me doing a lot of weird things. But that's the touching grass
okay.
life, unfortunately. For those of you out there, if you'd like to see it, you need to become my best friend because I don't send those photos out willy-nilly. But before we get into this game, we're just getting ready to jump in. I'd like to quickly touch over to one thing. If I could get Mam to quickly jump over to the awesome scene for me. Guys, I have a charity event coming up this week. I've been given permission to talk about it. My partner is doing the International Women's Day Foundation run. So we're looking for donations. We're going to be running a small little event Thursday night. So this Thursday, it's going to be the 9th. Basically, come on into my stream, which is the Papa _ Pike on Twitch. Basically, a small donation can be $1, $2 or more. Basically gets you a ticket into the game. So we're trying to get as many donations as possible. It's all about coming and having some fun. We'll be doing 6 to 9, but it could go later depending. But casual, I think this is just a nice little thing that we don't see too much of in Oceania. A couple little charity events that we don't get to talk too much about.
No, it's lovely, and what a great cause to be doing something like that in. So kudos to you, kudos to Caffeinated Cutie, your partner as well, for hosting it. I certainly will be donating to not only get myself onto the Rift, but also just to support something like that. So fantastic, Pike. Really appreciate you putting in that, and what a nice way to lead ourselves into some League of Legends action.
We start off with the feel-good stuff, looking after people who need help, and then we move into League of Legends where
Blood
people
and guts.
definitely need help.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
help you can get, because the mental is just out the door half the time. But that's why we're watching Plat players, because their mental is better than most. They're not
Everyone
here
knows
to FF. So as we're waiting for them to start up the lobby, let's break down what team are you expecting to really run away with this one, casual, as we're starting to
Yeah.
get into picks and bans.
It's interesting, right? So, what are the factors we've got to look at? We've already mentioned Daya as a factor. We've mentioned the veterans on the side of Cavalry, Dollop and Envious of Me, who will handle that shot calling, the ability to run the map. And then you look at Jade Dragons and you go, well, where do they match up in there? And as we jump into draft, we're going to be seeing those sort of plans come out, right? You get to get a little bit of a vibe as they go into it and what they want to decide and what style they want to go for. And the first part, as always, in Champion Select is to see what you're going to take away, who are you going to target, or what style of comp are you going to target. When we were playing ARAMs in the previous night, in the previous tournament, it was all about style, right? Everyone had a different idea about what comp was best. Now that we're jumping back over to Summoner's Rift, Pike, really the meta, in my opinion, is as simple as it's ever been. And so people really understand what the win cons are. They're dragons, they're bot lane. And so we'll usually see things targeted towards that. And we've kind of seen that vibe already. Evelyn, Caitlyn taken away, so a champion that loves to feed kills off of the bot lane and permanently gank after 6. And then Aurelion wave clear so we can play for dragons, another AD carry, and then even the Jax ban over. So seeing some really decent bans so far.
So as we're sort of, I don't have the graphics up just yet, guys. We do have Caitlyn, Evelyn, and Jax being banned out. And on the other side, on red side, we have Asol, we got Draven, and then we got Tristana. I think some really strong picks there. They're hovering a Yuumi for some unknown reason. I'm not sure why, but it's something. We're not going to see it though, because if we do see that, honestly, it's going to be a bit of a joke. But no, they pick up the J4, and I really like that.
Yeah, no, I love a Jarvan first pick as well. Not something that can really be counted in the jungle because he's not really looking to interact with the enemy jungler. He's not looking to invade. He's not looking to target them. He's not really looking to steal camps even. He's just looking to permanently gank. And so they'll match it onto the Sejuani. So two champions that I imagine will just be mirroring their clear, going either from bot to top or vice versa. They pair the Sejuani with the Sylas as well. Really beautiful. Don't know who the coach is for Cavalry, but they've picked up a really, really nice 2v2 for the mid jungle, which we're seeing countless times in pro play right now. So hopefully they can replicate the success that we've seen on the big stage. But as Jade Dragons start to pick their champions, match Kassadin. Okay.
Kassadin. Okay, the Kassa win is coming out. Now, that instantly tells me there is a ticking time bomb coming onto the Rift in this game, casual. That Kassadin does not want to get level 6 before the game is over, or the game will be over. So I really like that pick. I think that pairs really nicely with a J4 too. If you can sort of capitalize and get a bunch of people inside that Cataclysm, Kassadin can Rift walk straight in on top of them. But then the Varus is now being picked up. You're going to be seeing a lot of damage coming out of these guys as the game scales on. I think early game, they're going to be looking to play very safe, very sort of calculated, and just maybe looking to secure or at least defend objectives. I think that's going to be the key thing here. But we are having a couple little technical difficulties getting up the champion select, guys, but we'll walk you through it as best we can as we see an Ezreal now being picked up. Let's walk through it again. We got J4, Kassadin, Varus being picked up in the first pick, and on the red side, we got Sejuani, Sylas, and Ezreal. What do you think of this Ezreal pick?
Yeah, I really like the Ezreal as well. You're pretty much just going tit for tat all across the draft. You've got jungles picked for both sides, mid laners
There it
matched, and
is.
then there we go. Beautiful, awesome, looking fantastic. And then we can see those AD carries matching each other as well. So far, so good for both sides. One thing you didn't mention about Cassid and Jarvan that I especially like is you've got late game scaling and then you've got
Mm.
early game prowess. So while one lacks the other one makes up for it. So it's kind of like Cassidon's leaving all of these breadcrumbs and all of these things behind as he lacks his ability to engage early and to fight for dragons, especially those
Mm.
first two. And Jarvan will sort of pick up and sweep them away as he goes through and making sure that they are able to contest things, pardon me, because he is so strong in the early game. So
Mm.
for me in particular, I like how they're pairing that, and then something like the Varus is so sustainable and so easily able to weak side in the bot lane. So fantastic matching up there, so he can focus for the Kassadin, and they're going to pair the Ezreal with the Nami. I like it. It's something that a lot of teams go for, Pike, because Lucian has been so nerfed, copying the nerf hammer again and again these days.
Mm.
It's usually what happens when a pro team picks the Nami early, and then if the Lucian gets
Yeah.
banned or taken away, they do end up pairing it with the Ezreal. So there is some synergy there, though maybe it's not the most common thing we may see. And speaking of not common, we're going to see a Cassante and then potentially even a Thresh in the bot lane. So I'm
Well,
really liking both drafts so far.
look, honestly, Thresh just recently getting a bit of an update as well, getting a little bit more power to him. I did
It did,
expect to
yeah.
see a little bit more in pro and amateur pro play. If they pick Darius here, I'm going to absolutely go nuts because I love that champion. He is absolutely bonkers strong,
Mm.
regardless of where he is. But at the same time, I really like this Cassante pick. I think Path to Horizon sort of proved himself to be quite a strong skirmisher, so he wants to be in these fights and prolongs damage. Cassante is fantastic for that. He's going to start running havoc through the walls. But there's the Darius to really sort of solidify a lot of damage. So Cassante wants to sort of scale a little bit more, just farm it up. But Darius is going to be so aggressive. So this top lane is going to be an absolute joy to watch because they're just going to go hard. As the rest of the map is just going to be like, hey, we're either going to sit back and farm or we're just going to look for little fights because Ezreal Nami, not the most unique pairing. I think the Nami feels a little bit. Actually, it feels more like the Ezreal's out of place a bit more. I think if Ezreal gets hit with one hook, it could be in game over if the right damage sort of comes out. So I think it really depends on how they want to play it. It's the mobility I'm actually looking at on red side here, casual. A lot of
Yeah.
mobility, a lot of lockdown. If you get hit with any CC on the side of blue, you're going to be having a bad time.
Yeah, I think lockdown's definitely the key word. I think their most mobile target for Cavalry is the Ezreal, and I like that it's on someone
Mm,
like Daya as well. So you've
yeah,
got that Ezreal insurance. He really is that, isn't he? He's the insurance champion. When
yeah.
things go wrong, at least we've got the Ezreal, because Ezreal can be 0-15, but he still somehow manages to get mid-prio in the mid-game. He still
Mm.
manages to push the wave in first. No one knows why, but we just accept it as a fan base of this game that that's something that can happen. And I doubt that Day is even going to end up with a scoreline remotely like that one. So I
Mm.
really, really like him being able to sit on the Ezreal. My worry now, as we mentioned earlier in draft, that Jarvan gets to play for Kassadin now, and they get to
Mm.
sort of go quid pro quo. But then a Darius has been counterpicked into the Cassante. It's probably Cassante's worst matchup, I'd
Yeah.
argue, in my experience. And so I really worry that if Tempest does still stick with that game plan for his mid laner, try and get this Kassadin online as early as possible, then
Yep.
top lane, while may not be the center focus of the meta, there's never a champion like a Darius that can snowball harder than anyone else, right? So while, yeah, you could say that Sejuani wants to stick towards the mid lane as well as Tempest does because of that synergy with Silas, he
Mm.
can very easily just focus his top side and get Darius so out of control that there's nothing that Jade Dragons will be able to do. Even if they do get to scale 30 minutes in, the game might be over by then.
Look, yeah, that's exactly right. Like at the end of, at the end of the game, it's who's going to get to the late game, really.
Yeah,
Because
pretty
I think
much.
Silas needs to really work hard. I think you're right. The Sejuani Silas combo needs to be really, really prevalent at the start of the game, even if she hovers more to the top side too, to really shut this Cassante down. Because we've seen Cassantes in the past be really far behind, but then all
That's
of a
it.
sudden, just out of nowhere,
Still
come
do
back and
stuff.
just
Yeah.
do everything. So you said that about the Ezreal. I'm still expecting the same thing out of Cassante, but I want to see this Kassadin shut down. I want to see Worgen on this Varus not be able to play the game. I want to to see him poked out immediately from the start of the game, because if he's not, he's going to be crushing it. Late game, he's going to throw out one ultimate. He could even go full AP if he really wanted to and just blow up this Sejuani, but we doubt it. I'm probably expecting like an on-hit sort of Varus coming out of that. But
Probably
at the end of the
on-hit,
day, Casual, a lot of these champions looking real strong. These matchups looking fantastic. So guys, we're going to jump to a short break. Stay tuned as we line up for the first game, Jade Dragons versus CAVALRY. We'll be right back.
See you then.
I'm running away from the past I left behind. I'm looking for answers, but I'm blinded
It's a Jade Dragons, y'all. Sorry, I wanted to do something really off guard just to throw Casual out into the wilderness. Guys, Jade Dragons versus CAVALRY right now. We're expecting some big things as we see a 5-man strong invade coming in. Already spotted Casual, but it could have been interesting.
Yeah, they're just looking for the deep ward. All they'll get, because Daya sniffs it out, you know, Sniffer gets in there, is able to keep himself safe. I think all I'm looking at right now is Part the Horizon and his summoner choice, Pike.
Oh,
He's
yeah?
opted for the Flash Ghost into the Darius. Now, you'll see this a lot, especially with Ignite TP top laners. So think like Jax potentially, Fiora sometimes with the Ghost TP. And what other top laners will usually do is they'll match summoners. And the reason you do this is to make sure that you're able to stay alive early, because you're already showing from loading screen how they want to play, which is an early aggressive style. And there's no champion like Darius that's more, let's say, predictable in how he wants to play the early game. Oh my god, did you just see what just happened?
No, but
Okay,
can you tell me what
I hope camera
happens?
goes over to bot. I think Thresh has last hit the red buff away from Tempest.
I think you're a little bit far ahead, mate. I think you're going to be reacting to things before I even get a chance, and I'm the one meant to be reacting to it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I would go off the Discord, mate, because already you see they got 5 stacks up top. The Darius, oof.
I see 2 minutes. No, we're synced up. We're synced up. I promise.
Yeah, what the hell did I miss?
Okay, there's too much to recap on, but hopefully lanes stay relatively chill so we can catch up. Ditch the sums, Pike, okay? Yeah, Flash Ghost, whatever, Casual, you're boring me, doesn't matter. I don't want to get educated about top lane. Okay, skip that bit.
I don't care about top lane.
Classic bot lane leash. Things were
That's the
looking
island.
good. Rekri may be a little bit unsure about his damage. Ends up just whipping away the red buff from Jarvan. Gonna be a really awkward time for Tempest, as Dollop's already having a beautiful path. And what I'm really curious about now, Pike, is what happens as soon as CAVALRY recognizes what's happened to Tempest here. Because as soon as you know how far behind this has put the Jarvan, it changes the entire way you play the early game.
It does. You got to be really aggressive. You got to be invading. You can already see Sejuani is inside his jungle looking at that blue, so she is probably aware that it's gone down because the CS lead is not too bad. Look at this little fight going on. Cheeky little damage. Rekrai doing a really nice job getting a flay off. And that's the red buff. They've seen it, so...
That's the red buff. Yep. Maybe it was calculated, Pike. Maybe they meant it. This is how they snowball bot lane.
Oh, he's letting a good hook, though. Oh, but they're a nice little dodge out. But no, again, Sejuani's been inside his jungle. Look at the CS lead now. It's already 2 camps up.
It's crazy.
It's a bit rough.
Yeah, no, it's a rough start. Totally recoverable, though. Jarvan really in interesting niches terms of a jungler where this sort of getting set behind doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think if I'm looking at it, it's about this team saying, hey, look, we want to give them a little bit of a head start. This is their handicap. They're saying, look, we'll give them something. Because you can see, here comes Dolphy already going in. Nice little return. Look at the CC reasons. Shut down. First blood. There's a fight down at bot lane too. And Morgan picks up the kill as well, but he's going to sacrifice his life for that one too. Daya doesn't have the red buff, but he has a lot of health. And it looks like there's still this fight up in top lane too, apparently. Because that's what they want to do. It looks like Daya could be picking up a double here for his trouble. Maybe. No, we don't see it.
Gotta land it.
Is he going to die to minions?
Oh my god, I hope not. What a disaster that would be. Recre with the fancy feet, the fancy footwork, gets himself out. So all the while, it was a play started by Cavalry, but ends up being not too shabby for Jade Dragons, and purely just off a 2v2 prowess from Walken and Recre. We didn't see the total start of the fight, but I'm pretty sure it's safe to say, Pike, it just landed off a beautiful death sentence from Recre. Clearly really comfortable on this Pike. I don't know the player too well, but I wouldn't be overly surprised if this is not a champion that he has at least some level of mastery in, because this early game, yeah, he's been leashed a little bit his victories, or his small victories rather, because of that red buff, you know, a little bit of extra damage. For the most part, Thresh isn't an auto attack champion, Pike. He's not getting the red buff for any other reason other than the fact he's hitting skill shots. And clearly he has, because now Walken has a kill, and unfortunately for Jade Dragons, Daya does too. But so far so good for the JD bot lane.
Oh, but we could see that little fight as Reasons is going to get jumped on. A little bit of damage coming out, gets the little knock up. Look at Envious doing such a good job here. He's taken a lot of damage, but he doesn't care. This is what you need to see. Handing it over to Envious. Tempest is off to the side, but a nice little fight. And they could just keep running the same play over and over again, casual.
Yeah, no, we mentioned it, right? We really wanted to see Dollop play around the right lane here, and he has. I think, yeah, you have the option to really, really snowball Darius into the stratosphere, but then you can also do the much safer play and just do what you wanted to do, or what your coach wanted to do when he picked you these two champs. And they've got their number. Right now, Reasons is having a terrible time in his lane, and you know, he still scales. It's not the craziest worst outcome ever, but it's exactly what you want to see out of Cavalry. So you're exactly right. I want to see them keep it up, and I want to see Dollop really put his foot on the pedal and keep it there, due to the fact that Tempest can't get what he wants to get done purely off just one tiny mistake. It's going to be really tricky on Horizons.
Look at the fight coming out here. Look, it's the knock-up. I don't know if you want to be bringing a Darius into you there as the guillotine comes down. Absolute farce. This poor Cassante, man, he's not having a good time.
Nah, I mean, look, that's just why the matchup sucks, right? As soon as Cassante uses his all-out, he's pretty much in execute range of the Darius ult. So the guillotine... Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing with Garen, right? Cassante's like, oh, I can get him over the wall, guys, here I go. You know, I'm traveling through the wall. My champion's so balanced. Look at me, look at me. And then he just gets Garen or Darius ulted and he's dead. So it's really quite sad. And we see that the 1v1 played out beautifully, but there's the damage, right? This is what happens when you funnel something like a Silas so early. We're 7 minutes into the game and he's already doing things like that. But, you know, Reasons being relatively even in the trades is quite impressive, considering the amount of pressure he's been put on him pretty much from level 1.
Look, you got to also respect the CS here, as Reasons is doing such a good job just maintaining the lane. Like, he's still ahead in roughly, it was about 10 CS just a second ago, but he's doing a good job just farming up a storm. He knows my con is just to farm it out. He can die a couple times, maybe 3-4 is a little bit too much, but he wants to just maintain some sort of status quo. And although it's only one kill, 1 assist, he's doing a pretty good job of it, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's really good, and what I really like about the fact that they managed to keep their lanes neutral despite Dollop's early pressure is the fact that it allows Tempest to come into the game and not be pressured to fall even further behind in the isolated 1v1. Hold on.
Oh, it's another fight as part of the Horizons trying to take on the Darius one more time. He's got 2 big items. The guillotine isn't available, but he's going to be able to get a lot of bleed damage as look at it burn him down. Oh.
Tick, tick, tick is pretty much the only thing you'll hear in a top laner's head when they're versing a Darius. That bleed is so obnoxious for so many different reasons. But yeah, Reasons, thinking of Reasons. He's doing a great job. As another descendant hits.
Oh, good little hook. Day is called out. Has to dash forward. Good little bubble actually comes in. He actually picks him up. Beautiful response. That bubble was phenomenal.
Yeah, nah, support combat of the...
Casual, break it up a little bit, man. You break it up. I don't know if it's just me.
With a fantastic on today. I won't be so bold as to say a prediction.
Oh,
you know, a little bit too late on it. Just hold on. Speaking of being too late, Part Horizon.
Nah, he's walking out. They're walking out.
He'll be safe. There you go.
You look at the Rift Herald here. You look at a Rift Herald.
Definitely looking for it, but yeah, the supports played it beautifully. It was wild. I hope so. It should be free. Looks free. Dollop will start it. I mean, Happy Winman probably doesn't even need to be here for it, in all honesty. Dollop, you know, he has the double bus collected. Tempest is so late to this play, but Darius, being a nice old top laner, knows his snowball in his matchup can be like, hey, I can take a little detour down to the Rift Herald. But, that previous play, man, as Envy looks for something, he does miss the chains. Go on, how often?
No, I was going to say, how often does a top laner actually come down to help with a Rift Herald? In my experience, it's not very often. I'm sure in these sort of games you have a little bit more communication, but Casual, you're a top laner. Tell me, what's your experience with that?
Yeah, what is my relationship with Rift Herald? It's pretty bipolar because, like, sometimes I'm really, really keen to do it, and my jungler finds a perfect time and he finds the right angle to start it. Other times I'll be in the middle of a freeze or something terrible's going on. Speaking of something terrible, Envy could be pulled out, or is it a bait?
But it is the bait, as it looks like there goes Ultimate coming down. The Glacial Prism does come out. Good little rip off to the side. But no, Rek'Rai is also taken off so close to dying, but they're still inside this fight. Look at the stun, the CC, the moves, the flash, and they actually all get out. You hate to see it.
Oh god, look at the HP bars. It's just devastating, isn't it? But at this stage in the game, it's totally fine, right? Because you've effectively killed them and you've gained so much gold due to the fact that you've got this Rift Herald. If we stop hitting the minions, guys, we might be able to actually get first turret. Okay, I guess not. We're doing rushes instead. It's still going to be plenty of gold though, Pike, so it's not the end of the world.
Look, and there's a TP coming in too. Obviously, they're not going to be able to secure the tower, but they can at least do some... Look, or maybe... Envious doesn't really have the mana for it, unfortunately. Neon Candy's looking to probably back to just secure that vision. Yeah, no, they're all back.
Man. You know, all across the map. Yeah, no, complete menace. The fact that we're making such amazing plays in their own lane and then reads the map beautifully to sit towards mid, cover for Envy. Envy does an amazing job of actually baiting out the play and, you know, playing like a total psycho, right? It's how you do it. It's how you get them nice and thirsty. And really unfortunate, I'll have to say. It wasn't really poor execution other than just being unlucky that no one drops. Literally all on like 1 HP. It was wild. But still get a huge gold influx, and we'll see that gold lead actually skyrocket pretty much just off that play, I'd argue. All lanes have pretty much been winning, maybe except for bot, just due to that CS. But a complete snowball out of control just due to that Rift Herald mid and that really well executed play.
Look, you got to also respect the item changes here now too. Envious, although looks and kind of feels like he's behind, he's picked up his rod, he's got his power spike, he has that over the top of Kassadin. It's really going to help him out throughout the rest of this laning phase, as we've only got 2-3 minutes left. And look, Dollop and Candy, they want Tempest here, they're watching it go down, spotted on a ward. Nice ward, good work, but sad it's gone.
No, it is a sad time. And speaking of being sad, you've got to feel for Tempest here, man. Like, we've mentioned enough about the fact that the buff was stolen, but let's rotate it on to what's happened since then. And what I'm pointing at here is not a whole lot, and that's not what you want for your Jarvan. Like, you'd like to see them potentially contest this Drake, but it's a matter of we could, but should we? Because we really are that far behind. About 3k is the gold lead at this stage, Pike. Really tricky time to look for anything early. It's not the end of the world, because with a Kassadin, you're kind of used to giving away those first 2 Drakes, right? As it will fall down, and we'll be looking at a, what's the soul? Oh, it's a Hex soul. That's a terrible time. Oh, that is so good for Cavalry, Pike.
Oh, look, but they need to pull something out of their hat, you know? Like, I'm really keen to see these guys really pull up their sleeves and get something moving. But at the same time, as Jade Dragons, they've got the late game. Like, you got to be careful with that.
And Dollop's got the confidence as he just walks straight into Tempest jungle. What's mine is now yours.
Hey, he can do whatever he wants. Like,
yeah, he might just have to sit and watch this. Maybe he can go for the smite steal, but this is what I mean about top lane priority, is that when you've got such a strong counter pick, your jungler's allowed to make this play. Now, there could be a slight overstay as Cassante heads down, but Darius reading the play means that it's just going to be more free money for Dollop, and he's got such winning lanes right now, and he's got an Ezreal who doesn't need to win his lane in order to win it. That sounds confusing, but you know what I mean by that? Like, you actually want Ezreal to be sitting back. It's just a perfect time for this Searchwani, who's absolutely loving life. Tempest will end up making that play. I wonder what it is. Hold on, Heart the Horizons. He could look for it, but it's just so tricky now, just because of this matchup, right? Any other champion, and I see that Cassante going all out there, but clearly so fearful and has to respect the damage coming out of Happy Windman.
Can I ask another question, though, just on Happy Windman? You know Happy Windman, correct? Does he play a lot of Yone or Yasuo? Like, is he one of the Windshit brothers? Like, does he play a lot of those champions?
The name, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
my question behind that is, how is he happy then? Because I play Yasuo and Yone, and I'm pretty sure I'm clinically
happy
depressed.
Okay, interesting. Look, I'm not going to get into that. I can send you my hourly rate. We can have that conversation maybe after.
But here's a bad. So sorry,
speaking
even
of
Navi's
therapy,
here.
Horizon.
Tidal wave does land. There's a barrage coming from the Ezreal across the map, but look at the damage coming out, pulling him back left, right, and center. And Happy Windman is a happy Windman indeed, picking up that kill. But there's a
past the horizon.
Ooh, here comes Tempest. They're looking for a little bit more Rek'Rai. Could be landing a good flash as he gets out alive. Don't know if Cataclysm is the right ultimate to steal, but...
Yeah, you could, right? I mean, the only way that Tyler's can actually get out of that J4 Cataclysm is his E, and he already had to use it, so he's looking for it now, and maybe he can be the one to actually turn the tide, but... Oh, hold on, Daya jumps in.
Day is aggressive. He's got that Essence Reaver. He's flashing forward. He wants this. He procs the shield bow. Look, there's a flash coming out of Worgen, but he's still got dashes left up. He throws out one more Q. Could throw out one more. There goes the Lantern, but it's just not going to be enough. Oh, here comes Dollop. He wants to dive this one too. The hook does miss, funnily enough. Tempest is also... But what can you do?
Careful here.
The Dollop can just do whatever she wants, like, it's fine. Ezreal's still backing off, but there's the flash coming out forward. Another flash comes in too. Big Glacial Prism isn't enough. Barrage, it doesn't hit. It's unfortunate. Envious uses the Cataclysm on the Thresh, and they're looking for that bot tower.
Yeah, he actually does end up falling. Dollop just able to do whatever he wants, right? We pointed that out when he was looking for the wolves, and now he's sort of turned his eyes away from these NPC camps and towards the champions, and he treats them like jungle camps as he just walks straight in. I know that there's a turret there. I don't really care because I'm so tanky. Neon Candy's going to keep me alive, actually buff me up with damage as well. Sejuani has an absurd amount of damage when paired with something like a Nami and with the leech has already gotten. So a free kill, and again, we mentioned it earlier in the previous game towards mid lane. Dollop does a fantastic job to give that kill over to Envious of me. I'm not too sure whether that was such a lone as more a KS from the Silas, but regardless, you can't be too upset because now you've got a 2-0 Silas already on 5 stacks with his rower, and Cavalry are at risk of just running over this game, and Jade Dragon's not much else to do except for watch and cry.
That's the thing, man. Like, we talked about this briefly, how the game state was about, it's either Cavalry wins early and then just ends the game before Kassadin can do anything, or Kassadin just Kassa wins, right? It gets to the late game where Cavalry didn't extend their lead, and then bing, bang, boom, they're out for the count. You got to put a lot of faith in Dollop here, who took advantage of that one bad mistake of the red buff being taken by Thresh. Like, you sort of hate that sort of stuff, because that is what happened in this game, as I do believe we just saw Reasons AFK, potentially. It could be a pause. I'm expecting a pause, but it looks like they are going to be looking to take this mid tower, just because there is only 4 members in this game, but we're just going to watch and wait for it. Tower actually isn't taken. Hook does come in. There's a TP coming in too. That's a big tidal wave. Bubble does hit, as it looks like that Reasons does pick up the first kill of the game. Looking for a little bit more. Flash is coming forward. Darius has to flash out. They're still looking for a little bit more, as Silas is now joining the party, looking to come up through the jungle. But really nice play there.
No, I really like it. It actually really points out one key thing for me that you mentioned in draft, is that, yeah, there's strength on the side of Cavalry in these individual matchups, but the team fighting potential, even if they do fall behind, is totally there for Jade Dragonspike. We saw it just then, like the ability to lay a CC, and what I find hilarious is while Reasons was AFK for most of that play, he manages to TP in and secure the only kill in that team fight. So I love it. The fact that you're funneling Silas's, hold on, Darius might look for more here.
That's the double ghost. He gets the pull, he gets the hook. They're looking for a little bit more. The flash comes out past the horizon, trying to find solace underneath the tower. But here comes Reasons. He's all alone. He does have the rod. He's got a little bit more. It does miss. Rek'Rai has been hit with a little bit of damage, but no, J4 goes in for a little bit more fight. Daya could be caught out too, but no, Dolan picks up the kill onto the Thresh, looking for more. Big barrage out of nowhere, and it's a double kill for Silas. 4-0-1 casual.
So Envious of me gets the gold, but Daya gets the brownie points, because what a beautiful true shot barrage to really just lines them up like Bradley Cooper and hits absolutely everyone. But that's not where the fight really ended for Jade Dragons. I think they were really undecided about where to go after what happened mid. I feel like it's often a case you'll see in the Iron to Plat sort of divisions where one play sometimes is just enough. Sometimes we can gate on one kill, we can reset in time, and then we can get back onto the map. But they got caught sleeping, Pike. Maybe there was a bit of auto pathing, not sure about where they're get going, and Cavalry was able to capitalize, say, hey, you guys have definitely overstayed your welcome, and get a whole bunch of kills, and wow, that lead's just really skyrocketed, hasn't it?
It's a huge lead. They're looking close to 9k gold lead, which is actually phenomenal for a 19-minute game. Cavalry really stepping up here and actually saying, we're not the worst team in this league. They don't have the score right now, as they have not won an actual game or a series. They're really stepping up today. So whoever their coach is, whatever they've been doing, big kudos, because the drafting right now is looking really on point. They just need to hold the course. Casual.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, part of the course, stay the course. What are the things? Starboard, star guard, whatever it is. Yep, get all the sort of synergy and, you know, navigational maps correct and en route, because there really is only one path to victory, and if they deviate at any point, could be disaster considering the scaling on the side of JD.
And look at Daya already doing a lot of damage, dashing forward. This Thresh is just getting shredded. What just happened?
Damage, man.
What did I just witness? I've never seen an Ezreal kill a Thresh that quickly. To be fair, if Thresh had red buff at the start of the game, he should be doing better than this.
That's it, come on. If he had red buff there, he totally wins that.
Oh, but I'm so sorry. There's a big fight going in. Cataclysm does go down. Envious has to flash as he's looking to go forward. Double Cataclysm. Gets the knockback through it, but looking for a little bit more. He does get a little bit of healing. Dollop still looking low, but here comes Envious and me. He gets the double again. This man is on fire, and I love to see it. Me and Envious go way back. But look, it's a 3v1 up here, and they're really trying their best.
Yeah, too super duper hard for Cassante to actually defend this turret. Definitely is calling up the boys, needs some sort of help. Cassidy, rightly so, just wants to focus on CS, is that little bit closer to 16, closer than he's ever been. But yeah, interesting play coming out of Tempest. It was really good for a little bit to defend the really hard aggression coming out of the Silas and the Sejuani diving onto the tier 2. But I don't know if you saw, but closer to Raptors, after Sejuani had burned his flash and then was walking out, J4 decided to stutter step a few times and actually keeps himself in range of the Silas E2, and then it just gets caught out and died. So I'm not too sure what Tempest was thinking with that one. However, it wasn't the only missed players. All across the map, things are just going from bad to worse, right? We're seeing pressure laid down onto Part the Horizon in his top lane. Darius will have complete free roam of either jungle. That's not what you want. Rekri can't even go and get vision because everyone's just already sitting where he wants to place these wards. I like the actual lane assignments before there is an invade on red buff, which we can see it seems as likely as ever. Maybe we'll get it earlier than I think, or maybe they'll just have to give it. Yeah, they might, Pike. They can't even trade something like the Baron as well because they just lack the damage with this Cassidy not online when he should be. Cavalry just
at the end of the day, level 13's still not the worst state to be in. Level 11 is still a huge power spike for a Kassadin. It's not game-changing power spike, but when you got a couple items under your... He really needs that next item. He's only got a needlessly large rod on top of his rod, so it's basically until he can get a little bit more, he's just going to be sitting side lanes, and he can't even do that when Darius is sitting there. And look how fast they take this tower, Casual. There's just no hope. Yeah. At the end of the day, really what can you do?
Well, you've got to try and play as slow and stall the game out. But how do you stall when Dolph does things like this?
He's not going to let them sleep for a second, or not even sleep, let them rest. They're trying to get a breath. As MVS going in, he actually uses the stopwatch, looking for a little bit more. There goes a big tidal wave isn't enough, but Envious is still just going to be able to walk out of this one. Did we get hit with a hook too? That looked a little bit peak range, but looking to go for the drag. And I like it.
Yeah, no, they'll take it. I think they've completely scuffed their engage there. So, it's actually not that bad of an outcome to copper Hextech Drake for having an absolute misplay on a dive. So, you know, it's not the end of the worst. They could even just reset together here and start to set up that Baron. With tier 2s broken down on all 3 lanes, you'd feel like with just the superior ability to have vision control anywhere Neon Candy decides, Baron is pretty much just up for the taking at any point. It's on a platter for them, whether they choose to do it. And now it's a question of whether, JD can stall. Clearly they can't stall. A 10k gold lead is far too much to surpass. So it's on Cavalry to be like, okay, how do we choose to end this game? And what do JD do? What's the magic trick that they pull out? Yeah, they have pick potential, maybe, but you talked about how mobile they are on the side of Cavalry as well. That your only real lockdown is Varusthal, potentially, maybe the Jarvan Cataclysm. You're hoping for some sort of amazing hook. I'm not too sure. I feel like I'm grasping at straws, right? Like,
look, honestly,
Cavalry 2-2 clean in this game.
Let's break down some of these items as well, because we're just seeing such big item differences, right? Like Varus here is trying to finish off that IE. I don't know. I like that he's trying to rush that IE, get some damage, but look, here comes Dolb looking for a little bit more. Path to Horizon does take the Lantern, getting himself out. As I do want to break down these items still, because you've got the Jack Show finished up on the Cassante. We've got Gore Drinker on the J4. You finally got the Seraphs on Cassidon, so really a nice, strong item that is sort of peak Cassidon items with a needlessly large rod. You're probably looking at a Rabadon's after that. If you can get that damage off, absolutely brilliant. Finished off the IE there on the Varus, which is good. You got the Locker picked up for Thresh as well. But can you just break down the other team, because that is a lot of item difference. It is a big item difference.
I guess my question is it good? We're going shield bow and then we're building IE second as an on-hit Varus. Is it good? I guess. We're about to find out. Yeah, we're about to find out. As Dollop knows that he can just walk in wherever. They don't have the damage.
But Rek'Rai is just absolutely shredded instantly. Daya could just do whatever he wants right now. Cataclysm does go down, but here goes Happy Windwall. He's doing so much. Reasons has picked up a kill, throwing them over the wall, but there's the shutdown going over to Varus. Is what he's needs to get into this game, is they're trying to take out this cast, and Horizon has to walk away. But look at Reasons here. He's just been fighting in the backline, and he's just backing off.
Yeah. No, Cassidon incredibly strong in that fight, actually. Surprising, Pike. I feel like we talked about him being level 13, 2 seconds have passed, and now it's level 16. What the hell happened? Like, actually a really scary point for Cavalry to consider. Yeah, they'll probably snag this tier 3. I doubt they'll go for the inhibitor purely just because of the HP on Ezreal. They've got to be careful as, Reasons. It's a whole different shift, right? As soon as this Cassidon hits 16. You level 11, absolutely, he becomes a champion, right? You pointed that out beautifully. But 16, there's a whole different play style. Like, it's crazy. You go from playing so conservatively to like, well, anything you can do, I'm going to do better than you. And that concept for me really rings true for the items. If we have a bit of a break in the action, we can digest it down, because Protein Shake, it's cleared for Cassante. He's got it, right? Awesome spike for him. But Darius already has a full black cleaver. So anything you can do, I can do better there. We see the Shadow Flame out from Silas. So Caston's put in as much AP as he can, but 6-0, the pen, everything is there for envious of me. Then we go towards the bot lane, and there's just a complete blunder. I have to just say what it is on this Varus build. I think maybe it's a case of the game's not going to last nearly as long for me to get to my 3-item spike, so I just need to maximize the amount of damage as possible. I guess I can maybe see that. There's arguments either way, but then we look at the supportive builds coming out from both junglers as well. So Jarvan wants to pick up the Executioners, try and deny that healing, but Dollop's already got a Radiant Burst.
And Tempest is now being caught out as instantly taken off the board. Instantly. Tempest is gone, and that's going to be a free Baron.
Yeah, you'd hope it's free Baron, right? Unless something crazy. We've seen Gumayusi and what his thoughts are when the jungle's dead and what he thinks about taking Barons, but it doesn't look like Worgen wants to walk over there and make that highlight play. Probably too risky, and at this point in the game, 27 minutes in, anything can happen, including an end.
Envious of me is actually being very aggressive in a 3v1. He gets a lot of health, and here comes Horizon.
Strong,
he's the line of fire, and there's the big tidal wave. That's just not going to be enough. As Envious of me picks it up 7-0-1. Envious of me really stepping up this game, playing champions. He's feeling confident, but look where the Cassidon was. He's had to back, but look at that wave down in the bot lane. If we can you just point that out for me? Can we just hover over that giant wave? We're going to jump back to these guys anyway, but look at that. That's a huge wave. It's already taken. He took 2 towers and more, but here we go, looking for a little bit more fun, and Inhib is slowly going to be taken. They've still got the Baron buff in tow, but we do see Cassante is up in 19th. They're just probably going to back off. Look for that Soul. Soul is so crucial, Casual. Let's break down the Soul here.
No, Soul's amazing. Like, it's good in so many different ways. The slow you get is perfect for their frontline 2v2 in the Silas and the Darius. It's amazing on Ezreal because of his ease and the ability to proc it. There's so many different ways. Actually, speaking of that split push in the bot lane, just a minion took down that tier 3 turret. So
there's another big fight. I'm so actually going to break into it here. As they're looking for a big fight. Envious of me wants to try and take down Tempest, but he's in a big fight of his own in a 1v3 right now. 1v4 it's about to be. Does get the stopwatch off as they're more. Look at the damage off to the side. Neon Candy has picked up Reasons. Anything more they can do. Horizon's taken off. Daya is in there doing everything he can. Double kill. Is it a triple? And it's such a big ace, and the Baron buff is still live. And it looks like they're going to be ending this one out right now. They can walk down mid. 5 members strong, if so be it, and they're just going to be able to take everything they came for. An absolutely smashing game coming out of Cavalry, really stepping up this game, looking to end this one out nice and quick. 30 minutes on the clock, they get the Hex Tech, they get the win, and they take home the gold.
Yeah, game 1 over to Cavalry. GGWP.
Oh, mate. It's almost too easy for some. Absolutely brilliant. I'm chuffed with that performance. Cavalry really stepped up. I think that is actually their first win. And I actually, the best part is I went into that whole thing and Envious of Me was talking to me and he was just like, oh, Papa Pike, oh, look, we're not looking too hot, Crash. I was just like, no, man, back yourself. Like, you've got this. And then they pull that one out, Casual.
Yeah, no, it's really good, and it starts all the way back at the beginning with the draft, right? I think really perfect for this team. Seems like they really understand what they needed to get done in this game. They needed their top laner on a comfortable matchup that's pretty much impossible to lose. So pair them the Darius with the Cassante. Just makes sense. We didn't see Darius go crazy, any massive engages, any huge carry performances. He didn't need, he just win his lane. And he did. And so they were able to fix elsewhere, and that's what they generated such insane lead. It was through mid lane, especially. I mean, Dyer just naturally being a fantastic player, generated a lead that I put under pressure early. But really, you have to talk about the jungle mid 2v2. It was an absolute shellac on the side of Cavalry to defend.
Sorry, Casual. I'm so sorry. I didn't catch a single word of that. You are absolutely lagging like all hell. I'm so sorry. All I heard was 2v2 and then some nonsense that sounded like a robot. But I got to appreciate it because everything you said probably was beautiful, but I don't think anyone understood you.
You hear me now?
I can hear you now. Did you close your window? Did you keep the Wi-Fi inside?
I don't know. I don't know. I've been having a lot of internet trouble, so I apologize not only to you, but also to chat. That would have been really weird. I'm sure I was moving around all like strange as well. Look, I'll do a TLDR. Basically, I was just saying Cavalry understood they needed to get the right person ahead, and that was the Silas, and then the Silas was able to carry them from there. That's all I meant. Yeah.
Love it, mate. Absolutely bang on. No, just like you said, I think the 2v2s, they played to their win kind of thing. It was unfortunate that J4 got set back so early, but at the same time, really, really well played to capitalize on that. You don't see, and I'll emphasize this, you don't see that level of play at this tier of game, right? You would see that definitely in like Diamond and above. So these guys are really playing at a higher caliber, and I'd probably give premise that these guys have put in a lot of work. So really big shout out for all of that, because they've done a really good job there.
Yeah, I mean, I started, when I came into MCOM Pike, being able to be privy to a lot of these scrims, and they just looked like your classic Iron to Plat scrims that I've seen a million times over, and I wasn't that impressed, but that was at the start. And so I really like that you've mentioned the development they've clearly gone through, because, yeah, the gameplay was really decent, and I think there was definitely a case that Jade Dragons just didn't really show up in this game one, and that's why Cavalry were able to take it away. But something I think I was going to get to but missed out on because there was some sort of fight and then you had to go crazy as you do, was the ability that a lot of Iron to Plat teams and Iron to Plat circuits in general, that style of gameplay doesn't really match up with being able to end at the right time. So basically means you aren't able to push your leads in the right way to blow up the Nexus. And games end up being 15, 20 minutes longer. And that's why you really like picks like the Cassidy, because games naturally, just due to skill difference, don't end as early as they should. Wasn't the case this time. I think Cavalry played a really calculated game. There weren't a lot of many missteps. They did what they needed to do. Maybe they could have been a little bit harder on that, sort of on that edge of the end mid game. Once Cassidy hit 16, I think they maybe got that Cassidy syndrome where it's like he hit 16, we lose now. Where it's like, no guys, you've still got a 12k gold lead. Maybe that's the case. Regardless, they take game one. Super impressive with the way that this team's been tracking, that they're able to not only win a game but win it in such a fashion. I think it's a huge turnaround for the guys.
Yeah, I'll bang on. I think like the people in chat are saying that these guys are really gunning for diamond, and it's starting to show. I think not only was that game very much a skill game, but I'm looking at the actual mental behind that, because Cavalry have come off all losses. And they've come into this game absolutely saying, you know what, doesn't matter. It's the beautiful mentality, we've got nothing to lose. That's how I like to play my ranked games. I got nothing to lose. LP, it's fairy dust, it's pixie dust, it's nothing, it's a whizzy, it's a wuzzy. It's just absolute nonsense. So with these guys going in with that same mentality, it's amazing to see. That's a really big shout out to those guys. So big shout out to Envious of Me. I'll blow you a kiss because you earned that. Really well played on that, Silas. But guys, we're just waiting for this to line up. We're going to go to a short break, so we're going to be back in just a couple minutes as we're teeing up this game. We'll see you in a sec.
See you then.